with you once again on the topic of risk analysis framework of India. Here I am trying to explain the risk analysis framework. So basically, we need to understand what is the risk analysis framework, what is the role. The risk analysis framework, I can say, is a one kind of guidance which is prepared by scientists, which is prepared by some lawmakers, some regulatory agencies. So ultimately is a one kind of guidance which is prepared by different expert persons or expertise of different area. Is a one kind of framework, is a theoretical framework. Through that, implement the risk analysis of genetic engineer plants in according with its law and regulations. एक्चुअली क्या है ये फ्रेमवर्क, क्या है, अलग अलग गाइडेंस है वो. आप सपोज समझ लो कि जो रिस्क एनालिसिस फ्रेमवर्क है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है. अगर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ गाइडेंस है, अगर आप रोड पे चल रहे हो तो लेफ्ट में चलाना, राइट में चलाना, जो भी चीज है, दैट इज वन काइंड ऑफ गाइडेंस. सो इट्स प्रोवाइडेड गाइडेंस ऑन हाउ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया थ्रू इट्स रेगुलेटरी एजेंसीज. अभी जो पुलिसमैन होंगे वो रेगुलेटरी एजेंसीज है, पुलिसमैन. तो लॉ जो है, लॉ मेकर वो गाइडेंस प्रिपेयर करते हैं. सो अल्टीमेटली what is that? So I can say is a guidance on how the government of India through its regulatory agencies, that means policemen, implement the risk analysis of genetic engineering. That means ultimately they wants to analyze the risk, implement the risk analysis of genetic engineer plants. Whatever genetic engineer जो plant है, उसका जो risk analysis part है, वो risk analysis वो किसी guidance through करेंगे. मतलब regulatory agencies करेंगी, बस उसको guidance जो है वो ये framework देगा. Ultimately मैंने एक example भी दिया है. If we want to put a golden rice into the market of India, then our regulatory agencies make analysis of risk on human or animal according to the law and regulations. So they make the risk analysis, whether it is risky for the human being or not, it's risky for the animal or not. So ये risk analysis framework है. मेजोरिटी इसमें 4 चीज़ें मेंशन की जाती है. उससे पहले मैंने कुछ यहाँ पे दूसरा मेंशन किया है, वो समझ लेते हैं. नॉर्मली इंडिया में जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिजम्स के रिलेटेड बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती है, लाइक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होता है, इंपोर्ट होता है, रिसर्च, रिलीज जो भी होता है, या उसकी कोई प्रोडक्ट फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होता है. तो उसका एक उसको जो रेगुलेटिंग बॉडीज़ है वो MOEF है. मतलब वो उसका रेगुलेशंस करती है एग्जैक्टली उनको रिलीज करना, कौन कौन सी चीज़ रिलीज करना, इंपोर्ट करना, एक्सपोर्ट करना. जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिजम्स की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. अंडर द एनवायरमेंटल एक्ट 1986 ये उनका काम है. एग्जैक्टली बहुत सारी रेगुलेटरी बॉडी भी है, लेकिन RDAC, IPSC, RCGM, GEAC, SBCC, DLCS, ये सभी जो जितने भी बॉडी है उसमें 3 टाइप है. कुछ रेगुलेशन का काम करते हैं, कुछ मतलब फाइनलाइजेशन का काम करते हैं. अलग अलग कमेटी का अलग अलग काम होगा, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल का कुछ कमिटीज़ है, तो ये काम है उनका. ओके, now we move towards our next thing, that is the purpose of this risk analysis framework. Ultimately, what is the purpose behind that risk analysis framework? The primary risk analysis reference is a reference. समझ रहे हो आप? Primary risk analysis is a reference for the regulatory staff and may also have for the range of stakeholders. ये जो चीज़ है एनालिसिस फ्रेमवर्क है वो रेफरेंस है, दैट इज फॉर द रेगुलेटरी स्टाफ एज वेल एज द डिफरेंट स्टेक होल्डर्स. ये स्टेक होल्डर्स क्या है? नॉर्मली स्टेक होल्डर्स मतलब वो पर्सन है जिनके पास जो लॉ मेकर होते हैं, समझ लो आप कोई लॉ मेकर है या फिर कोई डेवलपर्स है, कोई रेगुलेटरी एजेंसीज है, कुछ एक्सपर्ट्स है, ये सभी लोग स्टेक होल्डर्स में आते हैं. डेवलपर्स ऑफ जेनेटिक engineered GE plants, government agencies involved in regulating GE plants, like in regulatory agencies, experts which provide advice to the regulatory agencies regarding genetic engineering plants. Now next point, India's risk analysis method. So it's a risk analysis method. I can say what are here you can see the component parts of a risk analysis framework. So what are that component part? The first component is risk context. Second part, that is a risk assessment. Third, that is risk management. Fourth, that is risk communications. That is the 4 main component of risk analysis method. What is the risk context? Ultimately मैं इसको एक सिंपल चीज़ में बता देता हूँ. एक्चुअली क्या होता है, कोई भी एप्लीकेशन आता है जेनेटिक इंजीनियरिंग प्लांट्स का, सपोज आप कुछ गोल्डन राइस बना रहे हो, गोल्डन राइस बना दिया सॉरी, तो उसके लिए आप भेजोगे जो एप्लीकेशन से एप्लीकेशन भेजोगे, तो जो भी कमेटी है वो कमेटी क्या करेगा, उसको कंटेक्स्ट में चेक करेगा, संविधान में है कि नहीं। मैं एग्जांपल के लिए बोल रहा हूँ, संविधान इसको नहीं बोल सकते, इज काइंड ऑफ कंटेक्स्ट। तो कंटेक्स्ट में मेजोरिटी गाइडलाइंस होती है, आई कैन से गाइडलाइंस इज सजेशंस। तो ये जो भी मॉड्यूल्स दिए गए हैं उसमें मॉड्यूल्स में चेक करेंगे एप्लीकेबल है कि नहीं, इनको ले सकते हैं नहीं है, ये मॉडिफिकेशंस किया तो ये मतलब ये प्लांट्स को हम कंसिडर कर सकते हैं नहीं है मतलब हमारे इंडिया में, तो कंटेक्स्ट चेक करेंगे। देन वो देखेंगे, एक एनालिसिस करेंगे, रिस्क असेसमेंट बोलते हैं। पूरा असेसमेंट का एक पूरा मेथड है, वो हम नेक्स्ट में डिस्कस करेंगे। थर्ड थिंग दैट इज द रिस्क मैनेजमेंट। Management, that is nothing but is a management team after the assessment. Once they completed the assessment, they go for the management. That particular application they transfer to the risk management. Okay, once they completed the risk assessment, that application is moved to the risk management. They transfer the application to the risk management. Risk management team finalize that whether that genetically modified organism is applicable, or we can release that particular genetically modified organism into the environment or not. Risk communication is nothing but that is the intermediate in between the risk assessment, management and the stakeholders. So that is the communication in between these two, that is stakeholders, management and assessment. Okay, let us check them one by one. What is exactly risk context? So risk context is sets the criteria against which risk will be evaluated. Second thing, describe the structure and process for the analysis. So what are the two things which are included here? The first thing, that is a one kind of criteria against which the risk will be evaluated. So that is the criteria for the analysis of the risk. It's also describe the structures and the process of analysis. So two things is mentioned here. First thing is criteria, number of that things which may be risky. Third thing, that describe the structure, process of analysis. Now what is mentioned in risk assessment, or what is the exactly risk assessment? When they give the application, अब समझ लो कोई भी मैंने applications दिया, then they move or they go for the identifications, characterizations and evaluate the risk to the health and the safety of the people or to the environment from the genetic engineering plants. Whatever the genetic engineering plant or modified plant, whether it is having any kind of the health issues or safety issues, then that is identified by, characterized by and evaluated by this risk assessment team. They use a scientific technique for the evaluations of this during the assessment of their applications. Now finally, the risk management. The risk management plan help the regulatory agencies to decide whether to authorize an environment release and what condition to impose. That means finally that application is transferred to this management team. They finally decide whether they has to transfer or they can release that particular genetically engineered plant into the environment or not, or what condition to be imposed. If the management agency feel environment release of genetic engineered plants is not safe, then it should not release into the environment. So that is very important. So finally, the risk communications is the final fourth step. Risk communication is integral to the process of risk assessment and the risk management. So it's an integral process of T2. That means that is communication is nothing but I can say is an integral process of this two, assessment and the management. So this two communicate with these stakeholders. Are you getting my point? It's involved in the interactive dialogues between the regulatory agencies and stakeholders to build the trust in the regulatory system by discussing issues and addressing concerns. That mean whether, that mean once they finalize that this particular application having no any kind of issues, or we cannot we will not find, or we can not find any kind of the issues, environmental issues with this particular engineered plant, then they interact with the stakeholders. Okay, and build up the trust in the regulatory system by the discussing issues as well as the addressing concerns. So finally they communicate with the stakeholders and finalize that whether it is we can release this genetic engineered plant or not. So what are the principles of risk analysis? Let us check them one by one. Protect the health and safety of the people and the environment. That is the first principle. तो फाइनली आप समझ लो ये फ्रेमवर्क का मेन पर्पस है दैट टू प्रोटेक्ट दी हेल्थ एज वेल एज सेफ्टी ऑफ पीपल एंड एनवायरमेंट और पीपल दोनों का सेफ्टी एंड हेल्थ मेंटेन रहे. तो इसके लिए फ्रेमवर्क डिजाइन किया गया दैट इज फॉर द जेनेटिकली इंजीनियर्ड प्लांट्स और एनी अदर जेनेटिक मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिजम्स. Risk analysis is systematic, structured and timely, contributing to the better efficiency and the comparable and reliable results. They are very efficient. It's a structured and systematic, contributing to the better efficiency for the reliable result exactly. In the risk analysis is based on the best available information. That means they analyze any particular plant, genetically engineered plant, using a best available information. That means they will use a scientific evidence, historical data, experience, stakeholders feedbacks, observations, forecast and expert judgment. They are not directly criticize that whether GMO is good or not. So they use different informations, best available informations. Risk analysis is transparent, inclusive, up to date, allows the stakeholders to properly represented and to have their views taken into the account. That mean ये मतलब रिस्क एनालिसिस जो है वो एकदम ट्रांसपेरेंट है. वो स्टेक होल्डर्स के कुछ अपना उनके कुछ रिप्रेजेंटेशंस भी होंगे तो वो भी एक्सेप्ट करेंगे, उनका कोई सजेशंस है वो भी एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. तो दैट इज वेरी गुड. टू-वे कम्युनिकेशन विल ऑब्जर्व हियर इन बिटवीन द स्टेक होल्डर्स एज वेल एज दैट कमिटीज. रिस्क एनालिसिस facilitate the continual improvement. So finally they want to continuously improve their framework. First thing, that is the risk context. What is actually mentioned into the risk context? Check it one by one. How we can define the risk context? As the nature of harm and the level of harm is central element in establishing the risk consequence criteria. So level of harm and the nature of harm, this two thing is very most important element in the establishing the risk consequence criteria. कोई भी चीज अगर आपको क्राइटेरिया consequence क्राइटेरिया डिसाइड करना है, रिस्क क्राइटेरिया डिसाइड करना है, तो two thing is very important: nature of harm as well as the level of harm. If you don't know these two things, you cannot able to decide the risk consequence criteria. Oh, what are the two main things which is considered here? First thing, that is the safety of peoples. What can do the safety? Toxicity, allergicity, disease, illness or disease. अब कोई भी GMO यूज कर रहे हो, अगर ये प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही है तो that is not good. How to protect the environment? Toxicity to the desirable organism that should be protected. जो protected है उनको ही आप टॉक्सिक कर रहे हो. Loss of biodiversity in the terms of species as well as the genetic diversity. Adverse impact of new or more serious weed pests and pathogens. अगर आप कोई प्लांट्स GMO प्लांट्स मार्केट में डाल रहे हो तो उसकी वजह से वीड्स, पेस्ट एंड पैथोजेंस नए आएंगे, कुछ नया डिजीज कोज करेंगे. Disruptions of the biotic communities and degradation of abiotic environments. So that are the different problems which may created after the release of GMO. Examples के फॉर्म पे यहाँ पे दिया है. For example, a fast growing plant would be considered desirable in the context of producing a forage for the livestock or the biomass for the biofuel productions, whereas the same plant may be considered harmful in the nature conservation area because it may displace a native species. समझ रहे हो पूरी बात? अगर आप कोई फास्टली ग्रोइंग प्लांट को ले रहे हो, समझ लो कॉन्टेक्स्ट में वो क्लियर हो गया. वाई? बिकॉज इट्स हेल्पफुल फॉर दी लाइवस्टॉक्स एज वेल एज दी बायोमास फॉर द बायोफ्यूल प्रोडक्शंस. बट ये सेम प्लांट्स है वो हार्मफुल होता है. वाई? बिकॉज इट्स मे डैमेज और डिस्प्लेस दी नेटिव स्पीसीज ऑफ एनी इकोसिस्टम और कंजर्व्ड एरिया. Okay, now this point is very important: risk assessment. The purpose is to identify and characterize the risk to the health and safety of the people or to the environment from the release of genetic engineered plants. Identify the wrong thing of genetic engineered plant. So identification is very important. Then they go for the collection of evidence. Once they collect that evidence, they check the seriousness of that harm, as well as they go for the selection of, they check the likeliness or likelihood of the any particular analysis. They need to identify the consequence as well as the likelihood. This two thing is very important. When they are clear with this two, they finalize that whether it is good or not. That means they evaluate finally on the basis of their likelihood as well as their consequence. Okay, so what are the steps of risk assessment? There are these three main steps into the risk assessment. The first thing, that is the risk identification. First they identify the risk. सपोज आप कोकोआ जो भी है, कोकोआ में कुछ लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ कोकोआ प्रोडक्शंस के लिए कुछ जिन इंसर्ट कर देते हो, तो चलो ठीक है, आपने मार्केट में डाल भी दिया, मार्केट में रख दिया एक बार, इट्स नॉट मीन दैट के देयर इज टू आइडेंटिफाई द रिस्क्स, दैट मीन वो रिस्क में पहले चेकआउट करेंगे ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द एविडेंस. तो डिफरेंट एविडेंस के बेसिस पे वो फाइनलाइज करेंगे कि ओके वेदर दैट cocoa is good or मतलब it is whether it is harmful or not. They identify the risks exactly. और तो दो चीज़ देखेंगे उसमें, likelihood चेक करेंगे, other consequences देखेंगे. वो दोनों क्या है that we will discuss later. So the first step, that is the identifications of risk. First they identify the risk, then characterize that risk. मतलब आइडेंटिफाई करना है. सपोज आप, मैं दिखाऊंगा बाद में क्या है, और फाइनली दे इवैल्यूएट दैट थिंग्स. ओके, सो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, आइडेंटिफिकेशन का I प्लस कैरेक्टराइजेशन का C, दोनों मिल के हो गया E. दैट मीन दे इवैल्यूएट द डेटा अकॉर्डिंग टू I and the C. The first step, that is the risk identifications. It is the process of finding, recognizing and describing the risk. Risk are identified within the context established for the risk assessment. Suppose जितने भी रिस्क के क्राइटेरियाज है, और रिस्क क्राइटेरियाज में कितने रिस्क डिस्क्राइब्ड है, जो भी डिस्क्राइब्ड रिस्क है उनमें से कितने आपकी प्रोडक्ट में, वो नंबर काउंट कर लेंगे. मैं सपोज यहाँ पे 5 है, 6 है, 2 है, 1 है, 5 है, टोटल मिला के 8 रिस्क फैक्टर्स आर देयर इनटू दी प्रोडक्ट. हो गया, रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे, देन आफ्टर दे डिस्क्राइब देम, आइडेंटिफाई. सो आइडेंटिफिकेशंस के लिए दो स्टेप्स है. कौन से दो स्टेप्स है? फर्स्ट थिंग, दैट इज दे पोस्टुलेटिंग द रिस्क सिनेरियोज. देन आफ्टर दे आइडेंटिफाई द रिस्क दैट रिक्वायर्ड फर्दर कैरेक्टराइजेशंस. First they postulate the scenarios. That means they first try to decide that it may be, or we can say they try to describe the different circumstances which may lead into the harm. Okay, like whether altered biochemistry, altered physiologies, unintended change to the gene expressions, production of substances that is toxic or allergic to the humans, production of substance that is toxic to the other animals, survival and persistence of the related sites. So that are the different features. If you are modifying the features, you are altering the biochemistry, you are altering the physiology, then that particular that circumstance, that means that जितने भी ये जो है, इसमें से कोई भी आपने अगर मॉडिफिकेशंस किया है तो उनको अपने क्राइटेरिया लिस्ट में नंबर 1 में डाल देता है. द अल्टरिंग द बायोकेमिस्ट्री, ओके, दैट्स थिंग. सो जो भी मेन सिनेरियोस है, इनिशियली दे फाइनलाइज द सिनेरियोस, दे फाइनलाइज दैट हार्म्स what it could be. So that is why I mentioned here, that is what if. First they identify what if statement that describe the possible set of circumstances. Initially they decide they postulate the scenarios. postulate करना मतलब आप hypothesis कर रहे हो, मतलब कि ये 10 तरह के जो अलग अलग पॉइंट्स है जो कि हार्मफुल हो सकते हैं. पूरे प्लांट में आपने अलग अलग जीन्स डाले, तो 5-10 जीन डाल के आपने क्या क्या मॉडिफिकेशंस किया, उस पर वो ज़्यादा फोकस करेंगे. So that initially they postulate these scenarios, identify the risk that required a further characterization. अभी जितने भी आपने postulates किए हैं उस postulates में कितने ऐसे हैं जिनको further characterizations करना important है. In the absence of excessive experience with the impact from the particular GE plants, identifying all substantive risk having a level of risk that is greater than the negligibles. That means whatever risk which is not negligible or that is greater than the negligible, that is considered over here. Second thing, initially that they try to postulate or identify the risk. समझ रहे हो कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं? अगर आपने कुछ जहाँ भी कोई जीन में मॉडिफिकेशंस किया उसकी वजह से कितने कितने तरह के प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट हो सकते हैं. सो दे इनिशियली दैट आइडेंटिफाई. सेकंड पॉइंट दैट इज द रिस्क कैरेक्टराइजेशन. ये बहुत ही लंबा है. फॉर द कैरेक्टराइजेशन ऑफ द रिस्क it's divided into two things, that mean consequence assessment and chances of harm. That means they first check the seriousness of the harm and the chances of harm. इस चीज को मैं थोड़ा समझाऊंगा जो भी आगे का सेशन है उसमें, मतलब आगे के स्लाइड्स में. टू टाइप्स ऑफ द असेसमेंट हियर, क्वांटिटेटिव असेसमेंट एज वेल एज द क्वालिटेटिव असेसमेंट. इन द क्वांटिटेटिव असेसमेंट द रिपोर्ट इन द फॉर्म्स ऑफ न्यूमेरिकल्स, in the form of numbers 1 2 3 4 5 whatever. In the qualitative assessment they just describe, or just it's a report in the form of different, it's a one kind of report, descriptive reports. In the quantitative measurement they try to measure in the form of 0 or 1, 0 1 0 1. Suppose मैं आप एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. सपोज आपने कुछ क्राइटेरिया डिसाइड कर दिया 1 2 3 4 5 6 और 7, या इस तरह से 50 डिफरेंट क्राइटेरिया डिसाइड कर लिए. उसमें रिस्क लेवल है 0, रिस्क लेवल है हाँ है, रिस्क लेवल है नहीं है, वह है नहीं है 0 1 0, टोटल मिला के हो गया आउट ऑफ 50 आपकी मिल रहा है सपोज 30. देन आपको इसको रिस्क क्राइटेरिया में डालना है या नहीं डालना है. सो दैट इज ऑल अबाउट द क्वांटिटेटिव एंड क्वालिटेटिव असेसमेंट ऑफ रिस्क एनालिसिस. हियर there are two parameters are used to characterize the risk. First parameter, that is a consequence assessment, and another one that is likelihood assessment. These two are very necessary to analyze the risk or to assess the risk. What is the consequence assessment? We can say is a result or effect, typically one that is unpleasant. So in one term I can say is a unpleasant result that create, or we can say that may present into a genetic engineered plant, or that is harmful to the people or to the environment also. So the consequence assessment determine the potential degree of seriousness of the harms. So what is exactly consequence, or we can say consequence is nothing that is one kind of, I can say is one kind of toxins. Yes, I can say if any particular causative agent or toxin is and their potentiality or the toxicity towards the environment or towards the persons. So that is the consequence assessment. So the degree of potentiality or degree of potential harm to the health of the people and the environment due to the modern biotechnology related to parental organisms. That means they wants to say degree of potentiality of harm, degree of potential harm to the health of people and the environment. That means ultimately modern biotechnology, or we can say genetically modified organism, what we are assessing here into the consequence assessment, here we are assessing the degree of potentiality of modern biotechnology. That means modern biotechnology in the sense GMO. So we are assessing the degree of potentiality or degree of harm to the health and health of people and the environment due to the modern biotechnology. So what are the scale used here to assess the potentiality of harm? There are four major parameters or scale is used here: marginal, minor, intermediate or major. Once again I like to tell you that this scale is nothing but that represent the risk level, that represent only risk level, or I can say that represent seriousness of the risk. Marginal, that means it's not create any illness. First thing. Minor that means it's increase in illness, injury, that readily treatable. That means if it's create the illness, then we can treat it, or we can say we can cure that person. Intermediate, significant increase in the illness or injury to the people that require a specific treatment. So certain diseases or certain organisms, I can say, or certain any kind of toxin, if it's required a specific treatment for the recovery, that means it's once they create the disease into the human being, then it's required a specific treatment. So that covered into the intermediates. Major, that is significant increase in the severity of illness, injury to the people or large number of people affected and generally is not treatable. So we can say major, that means one kind of COVID-19. We can say COVID-19 we can cover consider into the major. This 4 is the scale of risk assessment into the consequence analysis. So another assessment, that is the likelihood assessment. In this likelihood assessment there are 4 scales: highly unlikely, unlikely, likely and highly likely. Consequence assessment is nothing but is a level of toxicity, and likelihood is nothing but I can say is a likelihoodness of any particular circumstances. That mean it's determine the chances of harm. So they just represent the chances of harm, and in the consequence assessment that represent the toxicity of any particular agent. Are you getting my point? Here in the likelihood, they may create, or you can say it's represent the chance. Highly unlikely, that means very rare chance or very rare circumstances to create. Okay, some limited circumstances. Likely, that means in many circumstances. Highly unlikely, that means occur the most circumstances. That means as we move forward, they create the more problems, or they are more risky for the environment as well as the human being. On the basis of these two, as I told you before, that if we want to evaluate or if we want to analyze the or assess the risk, we require these two data. First thing, we require the risk consequence assessment. Second thing, we require likelihood assessment. If we have these two data, we can easily evaluate the risk assessment. Okay, that evaluated data may be scaled into the negligible, low, moderate and high that are mentioned in the first line. Risk is evaluated against the objective of protecting the health. Why? Exactly why they are evaluating the data? Because they want to protect the health and safety of the peoples and the environment, to determine for the control to mitigate or to reduce the risk. Risk evaluation combine the finding from the consequence, hazard, likelihood, that is exposure assessment, using a matrix table. So how we can evaluate that thing on the basis of these two? We have one table that is called risk matrix table. So here you can check that in the horizontal line we observe the consequence assessment in the different 4 scales: marginal, minor, intermediate and major. In the vertical line you check the likelihood assessment. So on the basis of these two, we can determine the level of risk. Suppose you can see here level of risk is negligible. Why why they represent negligible here? Because here the likelihood assessment represent highly unlikely and the consequence assessment represent very low toxicity. So low marginal, that means marginal, that means very less toxicity, and the highly unlikely, that means very less, or the level of circumstances is very less. So less circumstances as well as the low amount of the risk. Just to represent that your level of risk is negligible. Once you go further, that means if toxicity is higher, marginal to minor, it represents negligible once again, because minor, that means is of any kind of the toxin. Or in the second line they represent the minor. Minor, that means as we had discussed above, that this minor, that means that compound or that organism may cause disease but that curable. So that is why this level of risk is negligible. Here we can see intermediate, that mean compound is toxic or treatable also, but level of risk is somewhat high. So that's why they represent risk level low. Major, that means uncurable disease or the toxins. So that represent here is a moderate. So we can see here when we move towards the bottom line, negligible, low, high and high. So that is depending on the likelihood assessment as well as the determined on the basis of their toxicity or the severity of risk. Okay, this 2 point is very important to evaluate the risk analysis. Okay, after the evaluation of the data, we got the result in the form of negligible, low, moderate and high. That means we finally we decide the level of risk. It's negligible, low, moderate or high. So what is the exactly meaning of, or we can say what is the definition of negligible, low, moderate and high? Negligible, that means there is no present need to invoke actions. There is no need required of actions. That means we can go for the finalizations. Low, that means may require the actions. Little amount, a little amount of actions required. That means 2-3 points is needed to revise. Okay, moderate, that means required little actions, or it's necessary to take actions for the mitigations that needed to demonstrate and effectively. High, risk is high, that means risk level is too much high. Third thing, that is the risk management. After the risk evaluations or risk characterization, we go for the third thing, that is the risk management. Okay, once we identify the risk level, then we need to understand the effect of that risk on the health or the safety of the people as well as the environments. So main goal of risk management team is to protect the health, safety of the people and to protect the environment by the mitigating risk. What is the outcome of risk evaluations? What kind of the data they generate, risk evaluation data will generate? So what measures are available for the managing the risk? How feasible, practical or compatible are the risk management measures? How severe is that? Severity, or you can say it's compatible, feasible to overcome the problems of that risk. These are the several questions. Selecting a risk management measures. How risk management measures is selected? Basically, it's depending on the type of plants or type of genetic modifying organism, or I can say what kind of the modification they do. So it's depending on the nature and the property of organisms, trait, what they modify, properties, number and location of introduced genes, how many genes you introduce, where you introduce, and what is the property of that gene, location of release, where you are actually releasing that genetically modified organisms or plant, normal production and management practices. So that part is very most important to decide whether you have to go for releasing genetic engineered plant or not. Once measures have been identified, they must be evaluated to ensure they will be effective and sufficient over time and space. Specifically, they must be feasible to implement, able to operate effectively in practice. They must be implement and they operate effectively in the practice. Meet currently accepted requirement for the best practices. That product must be accepted requirement for the best practices. Manage the risk to the level required for the duration of the activities and the period of release. Be able to monitor. So this thing is very important before releasing the or before finalization of GMO plants. That is the risk communications. Main work of risk communication team is to communicate between the two stakeholders. There are several communities which are included into the stakeholders. That means whatever the main body or which is important during the risk analysis, that all are covered into the stakeholders. So what is the main aim of the regulatory agencies during their communications? So they raise the awareness of Indian regulatory system for the genetic engineered plants nationally as well as internationally. So they create the awareness people, not in the national but in the international level also. What is the aim of risk communication? That is always they try or assess the risk scientifically, but never try to assess randomly. They choose only best method for the before the releasing of genetic engineering plants as well as the during the analysis of genetic engineering plants. Listen and respond in timely manner to relevant concern of the stakeholders. There's always listen as well as respond. Okay, not only they listen and respond, but they are also communicate or discuss with the stakeholders. Periodically review the communication strategies and practice to ensure the effective and efficient communication with the stakeholders. They always try to improve their strategies as well as the practices. What is exactly the risk communication? Risk communication is a continual and interactive process to provide, share and obtain the information. What they want to say? They want to say they provide, share and obtain the informations through the dialogues from the stakeholders regarding the analysis of risk. They always interactive with the stakeholders in the form of dialogues, always engage in the dialogues regarding the analysis of the risk. It's a two-way process. What are the goal of risk communication? Main three goal. First, engagement, informing and building trust. Engagement, that is, they always engage with the internal as well as the external stakeholders during the analysis process. They are informing that, no, they are not only informing the different persons, they always receiving the different data, and once they get the data, analyze the data, they inform to the different persons, different constituencies. Example, like some researchers, farmers, health workers, industries, consumers, integrated groups and general communities. So it's an interactive community. Building the trust. They always try to build up a trust into the community. They trust into the different communities that I'm talking about these stakeholders. They always build up the trust. Risk perceptions. Always perception should be there. So risk effectiveness of the risk communication can be affected by how people understand or perceive the risk. Exactly. Finally, it's totally depending on the people or the person which understand, how much they understand and what they understand. So perception and understanding of risk can also be influenced by the personal experience. Okay, not only depending on the person or people, but also depending on the experience of persons, knowledge, belief and value, as well as the attitude of the persons. So finally, main goal of this risk analysis framework is to protect the health of human being as well as animal, as well as protect the environment. Thank you so much. If you like my video, you can subscribe my channel immediately. You can share my video with your friends also. Thank you so much.